Hello, friends. You might have heard a lot about these tools, whatever you are seeing on the screen right now. But do you know the exact difference or the exact usage of all these different tools? In this short video, I'm just going to explain each one, not in detail, but it will definitely help you to understand what can be used when. Okay? I'm not going in order, but let me try to explain. The Power Automate first. Okay? Power Automate has got two versions. One is Power Automate Desktop and the other one is Power Automate Cloud. Starting with Power Automate Cloud, so if you wanted to play something around with Power Automate, you need to open the browser and go to make.powerautomate.com and it will help you build flow. Okay, when I say flow, it can be like sending an email, getting some information from SharePoint and sending it as an email, getting some information from Microsoft Forms and sending it as an email, or it can be like collecting some information from a database and then upload or update it in another database or update it in Microsoft Forms or something similar to that. So that is the main usage of Power Automate Cloud. Okay, so basically you're creating flows which can run in the background on a scheduled basis. You can say like run once in a day, once in a week, etc. Or it can be based on some triggers. For example, you can configure like when an email arrives in the Gmail or in a different account, the flow can be triggered such that it will do some actions and then deposit or update whatever the needful in another database or send a summary email or something of that sort. So that is a basic usage of Power Automate Cloud, creating flows. Okay, now coming to Power Automate Desktop. Okay, so basically Power Automate Desktop is for robotic process automations and it is basically for legacy applications. When I say legacy applications, just think like you have a desktop application which doesn't have any APIs or you don't have any database access or something uh, you can access in the backend or using the backend. So you don't have anything like that actually. In that case, Power Automate Desktop will help you. Okay. So basically, how you can use Power Automate Desktop is like you can mimic the on-screen clicking of the uh, desktop application. For example, you may be opening the desktop application and you will be clicking on a button that will take you to another screen and you may be entering some information over there, and after entering that information you will be pressing the submit button or whatever actually. So these uh, on-screen events, button click, mouse click, etc., can be automated using Power Automate Desktop. Okay, so you can either configure all these things yourself, or there is a record button in the Power Automate Desktop which you can easily use to record all these actions and replay. So this is basically for helping you reduce your manual effort. Okay, so that is Power Automate Desktop. Okay, so if you have used Excel macro and recorded some actions that you do on the Excel or some Microsoft application, you can easily relate that to Power Automate Desktop. Okay, I hope you understand what is Power Automate Cloud and what is Power Automate Desktop. Okay, now coming to Power Apps. Okay, so basically Power Apps is like creating a user interface which you can open in a browser or in the mobile. Okay, basically after creating an application in Power Apps, you will be getting a URL that you can go to any browser in the desktop or in the mobile and you will be able to open that application. Okay, so it's basically for creating user interface. Okay, so if you have worked with ASP.NET or some sort of application that will help you create text box, labels, drop downs, etc., you can easily relate that to Power Apps actually. Okay, the Power Apps, the user interface that you create in the Power Apps, what you can do with that is like on a button click of an application created in Power App, you can call a Power Automate flow, cloud flow. Okay, so basically Power Automate Cloud Flow will act as a backend over here, and the application that you create in Power Apps will act as a front end actually. Okay, so that is a Power Apps. Power BI is a dashboard kind of thing where you can create interactive dashboards, and that dashboard can talk to any set of database in the backend. It is basically a visualization tool. Got it? Okay. Now coming to Microsoft Dataverse. So you know about MS Access, you know about SQL Server, you know about Postgres. So these are different databases actually. So all these things you can install on your desktop or install on a server and create tables, create views, etc., and play around with that. You can uh, insert data into tables, you can read the data from there, etc. The Microsoft Dataverse is a um relational database kind of thing. Just keep it that way, which will support this entire Microsoft stack. For example, if you go to the Power Apps interface using the browser, there will be an option to go to the Dataverse and create tables, insert records into that, read the records, just make a list of the records available in the backend, etc. Okay, so basically, just keep it as a or treat it as a online database kind of thing where you can store the data. You don't have to install anything on your desktop, install anything on the server, etc., etc. This will be an online database freely available. It's not free, by the way. It will be available in the Microsoft stack actually. So what is the use of that is like sometimes the Power Apps, the application that you create in the Power Apps, or the flow that you create in the Power Automate cloud. So you will have to store the data somewhere. So you can use the Microsoft Dataverse to store these data. Okay, you can store the data using micro Power Automate flow. You can read the data and you can play around with that easily. Hope you got an understanding of Microsoft Dataverse. Now coming to Copilot Studio. So it is basically an application or a tool where you can create agents. Okay, when I say agents, and before talking about agents, you would have used different prompts in different AI tools like Google Gemini, Copilot, ChatGPT, etc., etc. So basically, you give a prompt or an instruction, and that application will respond back to you with whatever you need or whatever you have given in the prompt. Okay, so likewise, you can go to the Copilot Studio, create an agent, and give some instruction or prompt to that particular agent, and it will act according to that. Okay, for example, I'm telling in the prompt, I'm just giving an instruction like you are a medical assistant and you should answer only medical related queries and nothing else. So if that is the case and you create this agent and you deploy this agent, you will be getting a chat kind of interface. Okay. In that chat kind of interface, you can just put some query and it will reply back with the medical answer. If you ask anything outside that medical related things, it will simply say like, I'm not configured for that and I cannot answer anything other than that. Okay. So it is not just for having a conversational kind of interface. Actually, you can schedule this agent, you can make it run once in a day, once in a week, etc., etc., or it can run based on some triggers as well. For example, if an email comes, okay, you can configure the agent to run when an email comes in your Gmail or Outlook, etc. And this agent will trigger and it will run that prompt, get the data or get the response, and just send it back to the calling application wherever you have configured actually. Okay, so the data may be going to a database in the backend, or it can be sending as an email, etc., depending upon how you exactly have configured. The only point is that the Copilot Studio is not just for creating a conversational type of interface. It can be scheduled, it can be triggered based on some events happening in the backend. Okay. Now coming to Power Pages. If you wanted to create responsive external facing websites, Power Pages is the option for you. Okay, as simple as that. If you wanted to create a website, you can just go for Power Pages. Okay, I think that's it, and I hope I have explained to my best about these different stacks. See you in the next video. Thank you.